First things first, Kev, how are you doing?
Yeah, good, yeah. Getting better each day, things are improving and settling down after a couple of ups and downs, but the main thing is we're on the right track now and I feel good, so yeah, it's been a long process, but we're getting there.
And Fraser, your brother, he's alright as well?
He's alright, yeah. He was a quick in and out of the hospital, literally got the kidney taken out, put it in me, and that was him after 3 days, so fair play. Again, thanks to him for that. It was an unbelievable gesture, but the main thing is he's doing well and he's starting to build up a bit of fitness in that as well. So we're both on the right path, and hopefully it stays that way.
And Betts, if there's anyone in the squad who was going to go through this and come out on the other side with a smile on his face, it's probably Kev, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think a few of the boys knew, but not everyone kind of knew. Obviously, Kev's condition and stuff. I think a few of his close mates knew. So obviously when it came out, you obviously saw the outpour of messages and love that he received from obviously not just Fulham players, but sort of everyone sort of related to football and out of football as well. So I think that just kind of goes to show sort of like kind of man Kev is and what he brings to people and what his values are when he brings people. So like you said, I think if there was one man that was going to come through all of this and keep smiling and keep cracking jokes, it was going to be this guy. So credit to him and his brother.
And Kev, there's never any doubt in the affection the fans have had for you, but the support they've shown over the last few months has been taken up to another level, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has. Obviously, through my whole time, they've been massively on my side. And again, as Bet said, the support from outside was unbelievable, but from inside the Fulham Football Club and the fans and everyone that goes with it was unbelievable. It's overwhelming as such. So again, it's a thank you to every one of them. Anyone who's going to watch this, thanks for all your support and your continued support. Still receive messages daily from a lot of people. So, it's great to have that support. It makes you feel better in the tough times, and yeah, it's been great. It has.
And I just want to touch on your chant they had for you. We're a family club, so we won't go into the specifics of it. But you got a kick out of the chant they made up for you, didn't you?
I mean, it was good, wasn't it? It's football, and they expect all sorts. But yeah, that was an interesting one. I'd never heard that before.
It's not wrong, though, is it?
No, it's not wrong, no.
And Bet, similarly, the response you got from fans when you put out your message about you leaving Fulham was quite touching as well.
Yeah, it was. I think, like we both touched on speaking privately, I think it's obviously quite emotional, obviously, when you do leave. So I think when obviously I put my statement out, I think sort of the messages that I got just sort of backed up everything that you've sort of been through, obviously as a player and as a person at the club. And I think when you've been at the club for a long time and you sort of go through the highs and the lows of promotion and relegation, which kind of what we have done, I think you grow closer with them fans because you kind of go through it with them. So I think the love that we've both received over the last sort of month or two for all of the reasons involved that obviously that we're doing this interview today has been amazing.
And you boys are clearly good mates. Did that bond form quite quickly after Kev joined 5 years ago?
Yeah, I would say so.
Pretty much, yeah.
I'd say so, yeah. I mean, listen, we obviously, we've got a lot in common. Obviously, we love golf. We like to go to the pub, probably too much, but listen, he's obviously a great guy. Had a lot of good things about him before he obviously came and joined. And to be fair, I think the first time we actually met, all we did was speak about golf, and then we had a golf day and he didn't turn up. So, so I was like, that's already on the back foot. But no, listen, he's a good guy. He's been a great character, and he's obviously been at Fulham for a few years. But I think what he's done in that short period of time has been brilliant.
Is that one of the things that you guys will miss the most? The not just each other, but the dressing room, because there's a few of you who have been through a lot together.
Again, I think football. We love football. We love playing football. But at the end of the day, every player will tell you that the day-to-day banter on the training pitch and in and around the place is where it's at. And obviously, characters like us who just thrive being in these situations and meeting all these different people that you see in football from all different countries. It's amazing. And I think what happens in the future, if for myself, retiring or whatever, or Bet's going on to different clubs, that is what makes football for us. And to do that through the week, then to have a game on Saturday to try and win 3 points, it's brilliant. It is, and that will be the thing that everyone will miss, not just us. It'll be every single person will miss that when they finish football or move on from club to club. But yeah, it's good fun each day, and especially at this club, it's been great fun.
And Betts, how do you look back on your breakthrough season? Because I remember at the time it was sort of you and Jesse Jovanen battling for the jersey. He started the season, you get back in, you play a couple of games, then we signed Gabor Kirai and Felix Magath gives him the shirt. So it was a bit of an odd time to be breaking into the team, I guess.
When I look back at it, I think it was probably the strangest introduction to football ever, but I wouldn't change it for the world. Like you said, I think Jesse started. We had a mental pre-season, which I don't even know. I need another hour to explain. And then Jesse started. I've got a couple of games, and then Gabs got brought in, and then got dropped, and then he got sacked. I was thinking, wow, this is what Fulham's first team's about, and literally it was like just chucked right into the deep end, and I was like, right, okay, well here we are. But yeah, like I said, I wouldn't change it for the world. You know, it was still one of my favourite seasons. I know it was a completely different squad, a different set of staff and stuff, and the whole sort of feeling in the training ground and the club was completely different. We'd obviously just been relegated for the first time in sort of 8 years or something like that, 10 years. So it was completely different. But yeah, that whole McGaff era was nuts. But like I said, it prepared me for what I was about to go in for, and still to this day, I've never had a harder pre-season in my entire life. So that's something that I'm grateful for.
And Kev, your first season, it was when we got into the playoffs for the first time, and we played some great football that year, but just fell short in the end.
Yeah, that was obviously one of the most disappointing parts. Was we fell short at a time where we were on form, and we went into it thinking we were going to win this. I think probably the one team that was going to stop us at that moment in time was Reading, the way they set up. But we knew something good was coming at that moment in time with Slav and with the team we had. If something good was coming along the way, if it was 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it was going to be, that club was going to get promoted at that time. We were so confident, and we had ups and downs during the seasons, but that's football. You know, you don't win every game, well, very rarely you do. And over time, we got better and better and stronger as individually and as a team. And then for me, the inevitable happened, and we went on a 23 game unbeaten run, whatever it was, and going into the playoffs, there was never a group of players that were more confident than what we were, and it showed in the playoffs to go down against Derby and then to fight back, and not one person doubted us in the changing rooms. No one doubted that we were still going to the final and getting promoted, and we had a great game against Derby second leg, and of course, you know, Wembley speaks for itself, and there we were. Yeah,
I think if anything, I think that game against Reading, I think probably inspired us to do it the next season. I think people don't realise, like, I think me and TC might touch on it in an interview at Wembley. I think maybe it was with you, and we said about, you know, people don't see the massive highs and massive lows, and obviously one of the massive lows was at Reading, and everyone was devastated because we honestly thought we were going to do it that year. But I think in reality, it probably turned out probably the best thing, because it gave us the motivation to go and do it the next season after that, and obviously it was made even better with the unbeaten run and obviously Wembley.
Yeah. And before we get on to Wembley, the Derby second leg, Craven Cottage was just a madness that night. Where does that atmosphere rank for you in terms of games you've played in?
To be honest, for me, it was obviously Wembley is always going to be the best one, of course, but you know, when we had that second leg and everyone turned up, and again, I think I felt like everyone was confident at the start. Even at half time when we hadn't scored, I don't know if we scored just before half time or just after, I can't remember. But I felt like the whole crowd knew we were going to put in a strong performance, and we had a good chance. If we scored that first goal, it was game over. Now you see people like him on people's shoulders. Dennis probably swinging from somewhere, I'm not sure, but it was unbelievable. All the emotions from fans, from players. It was just, you looked around and everyone was on, like players were on the fans' shoulders. It was brilliant to see. Yeah.
And that had been sort of 2 years of a midfield of yourself, Stefan and TC, and it seemed to work really well. How much fun was it to play in that midfield?
It was great, yeah, it was. Tell you what, they were, I can't swear on here, but no, they put me in trouble a few times, yeah, because they left me alone there. Because you know what they're like, TC and Steph, they're good characters, they're brilliant footballers, and they're attacking footballers. So they would just go forward and attack it with the forward players we had, and just be all gung-ho, and then us in the defensive bits would be left like, all right, what happens here now? So, I mean, we coped it well, but in terms of the midfield three was great. You know, I've never had a partnership of a trio like that before in my life. And
what
I think
Kev's trying to say is them two are late. That's what he's trying to say.
That's pretty much what I was trying to say without swearing. And I couldn't think of any other words, to be honest with you, at that moment in time. So, no, like, it was great. It really was, and we had so much banter about that side of things. They would always say to me, just win the ball back and give it to us, and that, you know, we'll do the rest. Like, so we had a good bit of fun with that. But what was good about it was everyone played to each other's strengths, and everyone brought the best out of each other. And in the end, it worked great. I think as a trio, we felt like we were going to dominate each game and give the rest of the team a platform to win games. And I know a lot of times we did. Don't get me wrong. A lot of times we got absolutely bullied and more horrific, but that's part of football, yeah. But it was good fun, yeah.
And looking at the final against Aston Villa now, how what was the build-up like for you boys? Because I think it was only Matt Targett and Stefan who had ever played at Wembley before, so it was quite a big thing coming up.
Yeah, I think personally for me it was massive. Obviously it's England's home, so that for me was big itself. So, but like Kev said earlier, there wasn't, without sounding a bit arrogant, honestly I can't tell you the feeling that we had in that squad. We were so confident, and I think we went into that game under a little bit of pressure because everyone kind of wrote us off a little bit after the Derby. We obviously lost to Birmingham. Obviously Derby, everyone's like, Fulham are gone. Yeah. Obviously we beat Derby, and obviously throughout that whole period we were still so confident. So going into the Wembley, there was so many things we just knew were in our favour, and I think getting that early goal was key for us because I think we were so good that season of scoring first, and we would be able to defend, and we would play on a counter attack, and we always knew we was going to have a chance. And obviously when we scored, it was we knew once we scored that was it. We were going to win. And even I think when Dennis got sent off, we all done so well to keep our cool and to stick with our game plan. But we managed to get through, and obviously it was one of the best days of probably all of our lives, really.
And you sort of touched on it there, but it was such a controlled performance from start to finish. Even when we had 10 men, heads didn't go or anything. Just seemed to Villa didn't really threaten us that much.
Most games, to be honest, 90% of the games we did control. An occasion like a playoff final at Wembley in front of 90,000 fans, it could be different. Players can freeze, whatever. So for one way or the other, we were confident, but we all rose to the occasion, which I was obviously proud of at the time. But even the other side of it, which for me is the best part about it, was when Dennis gets sent off in, 75th minute roughly, whatever it was. Everyone dug deep for each other. Everyone realised this is our chance to get promoted here, and nothing was stopping us at that moment in time. Everyone's seen a complete different side for us. We were sat in our 18-yard box, blocking shots, making saves, just anything it took to obviously to go up and to win the game, and that was what I really enjoyed about that game. It wasn't the fact that we scored a great goal and we controlled the game at times. It was the fact that when the push came to shove, we stood up and every man was counted, and when the final whistle went, everyone was absolutely buzzing, not just to get promoted, but I think by then everyone was absolutely shattered. I remember just but it's snail's pace, even slower than normal. Like I was by the end of the game, it was mad. It was
the heat as well, wasn't it? I remember I was late out to the second half because first half I was sat obviously stood in the sun the whole time. I swear I remember one of the physios just dabbing ice all over my head, and I was late out to the second half because I thought I had heat stroke. I thought I was like Matty Targett at Birmingham.
And Betts, it wasn't one of your busiest afternoons, but there was a moment when Jack Grealish went on a mad run. And I think a certain Kevin McDonald even deflected the shot to make the save even more impressive. Do you still relive that one over in your head sometimes?
Yeah, I think it's one of them ones I think I would have been extremely disappointed if I got beat from that angle, but it was a great run from him. I think our whole sort of pre-game was obviously we knew he was probably their star man, and if it was going to be one person who was going to win them the game, it was probably going to be him. So we sort of knew everything about him, and yeah, listen, when a player like that goes on one of them crazy runs that you've seen him do this whole sort of last 2 years in the Prem and stuff, he's hard to stop. And the big man obviously went all the way with him to sort of the 6-yard box, wherever it was, and he shot, and I don't even know where the shot was going, but Kev managed to get a little block on it, and thankfully it managed to hit me in the chest and fall back. But like Kev said earlier, that was the kind of things that we thrived on when we went 1-0 up, because we knew, listen, if we can defend here, we've got a massive chance of winning this game. And I don't know if Dennis was even on the pitch at that point. I don't know if we had 10 men, I'm not sure. But like you said, I think small things like that go in your favour on that day, obviously just make it 10 times better when the final whistle went. And listen, everyone's seen the celebrations. It's one of them things that you might only get to do it once. So thankfully we managed to do it twice. But at that time it was ridiculous.
And we couldn't really acknowledge this at the time, but there's a fairly iconic shot of you running around Wembley with a flare in your hand.
Yeah, that was. I'll probably be remembered at Fulham for that rather than for any games that I played. But to be honest, I honestly don't even remember. I think the final whistle went, and because I was down the end with the Villa fans, I was kind of all alone. So I think I sort of dropped to the floor and was just like screaming up to the sky, and I just thought I need to get over with the lads. So I just started running, and I don't run very fast, so I just saw this flare on the floor that someone obviously threw on. So I was like, I'm picking this up and running with it. And I swear, it felt for me it was like a couple of seconds, but it probably was about a minute and a half by the time I got from one goal to the next goal, because I'm that slow. But yeah, and then I launched it out. But yeah, it's obviously an iconic photo. one of the photos I've got in my house actually on the wall. So it's one of definitely my faves. I know it's obviously one of the fans' faves, and I wish I could probably put it on Instagram more often, but I know I'll probably get a bit in trouble with the FA and stuff. So it's one for me, and it's probably one I'll use when I'm retired and the FA can't catch me then.
Full time or after the game, Kev, there's a famous scene of you giving a rousing speech in the dressing room, like saying that it was for everyone involved with Fulham. Was that something that you felt like you had to do?
Yeah, I think just obviously just the way I am as a person, and obviously I've always got on, Betts is the same with a lot of the staff. So, like, you know what it's like when you get promoted. First thing's the manager, the hero of the game, and obviously the team on the whole and the squad. That's kind of how it works. Then after that, obviously, like, no one really says the players behind the people behind the scenes. Sorry. So I just think there's so many people that work towards that same goal. Everyone's got that same vision to be successful, and these people that don't get noticed or mentioned, or anyone from physios to doctors to staff to kitchen staff to everyone, like Bet said, like to everyone behind the scenes, we've had such a good time with them, and I think these people deserve that, and I hope they appreciate that, because we as players, obviously we thank them for all they do behind the scenes, because at the end of the day we're the ones that get the credit, but really the credit's due to all them to making it happen. We're out there to perform, but every single person behind the scenes of the club all works towards the same goal, and I felt that things like that need to be done.
So Fulham are in the Premier League now. I think you both got the opportunity to captain Fulham in the Premier League as well. It must have been pretty special to represent the club on the biggest stage.
Yeah, for me it was very special. I think, like I said in my Instagram post, I think if you had asked a 14-year-old me, I would have even been playing in the Premier League for Fulham, I would have absolutely laughed at you, let alone captain the side. So I think for me, maybe my first game might have been at Everton. I think when I wore the armband, and I think the people that we are, I think it's always special, and I think you always get an extra buzz when you are captain, because I think you have that extra bit of leadership that everyone looks to. But I think when I look back at that, and probably in a few years' time when I'm retired, that's something I'd be extra proud of, because it is a big thing, and I think, like Kev just said there, as much as everyone's a leader in their own right in a team, I think when you have that armband on, you become that voice, and we're obviously both sort of quite loud people, obviously on and off the pitch, but I think on the pitch you need them voices, especially when times are going wrong, and you're in a bit of a sticky situation. You need people around you to pull together and be them leaders, and I think that's what we've probably both done really well over the last few years.
Again, same. I think for me personally, I think further down the line, when I see, like, look back at photos and stuff and you're wearing the armband, as you said, I think that's probably further down the line for me. I'd be like more proud then. At the moment, at the time when I was the captain and stuff, I've always been the way I am as a player. I've always been quite vocal and quite encouraging in any game and in any situation. So at the time when obviously given the armband, yeah, it's proud for myself and my family. But again, it's another game, and you've still got the same job to do. So if I had the armband or not, I'd still be the same person trying to lead a team. And but of course, as you said there, further down the line when you look back, kids, whatever, so on. Oh, your dad was a Premier League player and a captain at one point. Things like that. That then it's a lot of sentimental value. Yeah.
And aside from the obvious, so take Wembley out of it, what are your favourite memories from your time at Fulham?
I'm not too sure. There's had that many different memories. One of my actual funniest memories actually about it is remember when I first signed and I done my first picture, and my T-shirt was creased like that. Have you ever seen this photo? My missus hammers me for it all the time. She's like, "How can this club?" She's like, I remember it happening. It came out online at night. Obviously, I just signed it. There's this picture, and she's like, "How can this club put this photo out there? Like, are these all right or what?" And it was a picture of me like this, right? My T-shirt's like scrumpled up like that. I'll show you. And she hammers me for it to this day. Honestly, it's banter it is. And so I'm actually blaming who was in charge. I don't know if it was Carmelo or what, but look how horrific I do. I mean, I had so many good times. It's just, obviously, Wembley stands out, and little goals from me here and there that obviously are for banter purposes, just all sorts of random goals. Again, I have to say it, like, promotion parties, like obviously, as I said, for me the best thing is the day-to-day banter. It's great then with a chance to win the 3 points, but you have to say it on camera, these promotion parties, these days out we had with the lads, these Christmas parties, I promise you they make a squad. People wonder sometimes where a good squad comes from and where that bond comes from. I promise you, it comes from things like that a lot of the time. It comes from when you're on the training ground, you're digging deep together. That's what it's all about. And the other side of it is when you go on a Christmas party, we get beat at Sunderland. Sunderland away from home, and then we go on a Christmas party, and suddenly we come back and we're unbelievable. So all these little things, they all come together to make the end kind of the end piece as such, and just things like that. It's been such a good time, and there's been so many memories on the pitch and so many memories off the pitch. It's just I can't even imagine how many I've got really, but it's been brilliant.
Bets?
Yeah, I think probably for me, about that, probably my debut was probably massive under the gaff. I think something that I probably never thought the year before when I was playing in League Two that was going to happen the next season. So I think that was a mad proud moment for myself and the whole family, probably more. And then Wembley, obviously, I don't even know where to start at Wembley. Wembley was just ridiculous. It was so many first times of being in the final, being at Wembley, Fulham being there, obviously seeing that the crowd. I think that's probably one things I will never forget. The crowd that day. It was just, it was actually. I know it sounds so silly, but it was so loud. It was actually quiet in the stadium. It was like a deafening sort of loudness. So that's one thing I'll always remember. And then a weird one for me, I think, is probably my Premier League debut, because I think that was a weird month. Obviously, Fab signed, Sergio signed, and I think the first game I was at number 3, and then all of a sudden I'm then playing against Burnley at home, which we won. So that was just a whole mix of emotions all going into one. At one point I was going out on loan. So I think that first game for me, finally getting over the line and playing in the Premier League, that was a massive moment, I think, for me. So, but again, I think there's been so many games over the year, like Huddersfield away, I think, when we played with kit and we got battered for literally the whole game. I think they had something like 27 shots or something. Them games will stick with me forever.
You saved a penalty.
Yeah, I did, yeah. And they missed another one, yeah. Lucky Wells. Them games, and Corley Woodrow cried when he got sent off.
It was mistaken identity, in fairness.
Yeah, we still cried. But yeah, just there's so many games that that happen over the course of the years that are special for different moments. Like Kev's obviously had his family come down for certain games, which we've then obviously all gone out and celebrated after with, and same for me playing up at Everton where my family are from, Liverpool and stuff like that. So there's so many special games that people don't realise that are special to you, and I think that the fans make it even more special when they've had an unbelievable day like your Wembley one and the Derby one as well. So yeah, too many to speak about. Yeah. I think
you both going to be keeping an eye on Fulham's results this season.
I mean for sure. Like Fulham's obviously both our own clubs as such now. Obviously Bet's been here for years and years. Obviously I've had a real affection to this club since I've joined. So I'll definitely look out, and I think from what we've heard, good things about this new manager, and I think the club's obviously will go in the right direction again after a disappointing season. But football's all about ups and downs, and hopefully Fulham can get promoted this year, and this is the year where they can actually stay in the league this year. That's what everyone's hoping for, and it's got a long way to go. But yeah, we'll be looking out, yeah, for sure.
Confident we can have a good season, Bets?
Yeah, I think so. Listen, I think the squad still stays the same from the year sort of we went up the first time around. I think you've got the core fundamentals there, and hopefully sort of with people like Boa coming back on the scene, and that it will give the manager a boost and stuff. And I'm sure with the players that Fulham have now, we should be able to go and sort of beat that league easily. It's such a hard league to get out of, but I think the players that Fulham have, I think, is very capable of, like Kev said. Hopefully the next time they are in the Premier League can actually stay there.
Boys, absolute pleasure speaking to you. Thanks for your time, and hopefully see you both at the cottage in the not too distant.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you.